Hey everyone, you want to show your holiday spirit? Stick around and I'm going to show you how to make that perfect and unique shirt to add to your Christmas wardrobe. Alright you guys, I hope you're ready to get started because I am ready. I have a damp t-shirt, I have rubber bands, my marker, my Sinew, and my scissors. So what we're going to do first is move everything out of the way. This t-shirt has been soaked in soda ash. It's got little bits of fuzz on it. Alright, so we're going to fold this directly in half. So I normally do it this way. Alright, and we're going to line up all of our corners, make sure it's perfectly in half, get all the wrinkles out that we possibly can get out of it. Okay. Match up the sleeves as best you can. Get those wrinkles out. Sometimes you can shake them out or feel them out. They'll come out. And then I flip it over onto the other side. Now, if you see any marks on my t-shirt, like this one, it's from the table. It's just because my table is old. And it's my craft table, and it's gonna wash right out. It always does. So, now we have our t-shirt. Try to get all the wrinkles out the best we can. I'm gonna turn it so that I can draw on it with my washable marker. As long as it's washable, you can use it. It'll come right out. Alright, so we are going to do a Christmas tree tie-dye shirt, and it's the perfect thing to wear for holidays because everybody's going to ask you, where did you get that? It's one of the best things to wear for Christmas because Christmas trees are the most famous icon other than Jesus, but we are going to do that because who doesn't love a good Christmas tree t-shirt? And it's tie-dye. It's like two awesome things combined into one. So the first thing we're gonna do is draw our Christmas tree. Now I am going to include a little, I wouldn't call it a star. I'm gonna do a little circle where the star normally is because it's just gonna look like a really bright light when I'm done with it. And what you want to do is look for the armpit. You don't want it to be under that because if you start your drawing here, it's going to look like it's on your stomach. You don't want that. So you want to come up a little bit. If you want to go right under your collar, you can, but I don't. I want to be like right in the middle where my arm sleeve is. So that's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to do half a circle with my washable marker. Okay. And then I'm going to leave a tiny bit of space between that and my tree. And you're going to draw half of a tree. Literally half of a tree. It doesn't have to be thin, doesn't have to be too thick. Half of a Christmas tree. So I'm going to do straight lines. One down. Go in a little bit, go down again, go in a little bit again. Uh-oh, my marker's losing juice. Gonna go down again, go out further, go in. And then because I kind of want this Christmas tree to be a little bit bigger and bolder because it's going to be one of my favorite shirts. I'm gonna do it one more time. Go down. And then I'm just gonna go right in to the center there. All right, so that is my half of a Christmas tree with a light on top. Now we're not going to use the rubber bands until after we tie the Christmas tree, but I have Sinew, which is my favorite thing in the whole wide world for tie-dye. It creates that nice white outline around your designs, and it does prevent some bleeding of your tie-dye. Not all of it. If you go too close, it's going to still bleed right into it, but you will still get the white line, so if it looks cool to you, that's great. So I am going to show you too real quick how to do a simple slip knot, because I didn't know how to do this for the longest time and I think it's useful. So you have this end underneath your fingers and then the end still connected to your spool on top. You want to go over in front, take these two fingers and grab that top string, pull it right through, and then all you do is pull and tighten it. Now you can adjust this without it coming undone. You can tighten it right back up if you want. It's actually super useful in every way. So now I have my slip knot tied and I'm going to start tying. But the first thing I'm going to tie is my little light at the top of my Christmas tree, and I'm just using simple accordion folds. But for this circle, I'm going to do little folds because it's a tiny circle, and you want to move the shirt with you so it's easier. You don't want to just have to try to work around the table. So just that little guy right here, and I'm going to put my sinew in there and line it up with your line that you made. You want to have a straight line. That's going to make your design. And line up your sinew with that line. Okay. Let me move this so it's easier. Alright, I just tightened it just a tad, so if you have to fix it, you can fix it. If you want to move your sinew a little bit in, you can. Now I'm going to tighten up the slack here so I can pull it better. Now I just put my hand right flat on it and pull it. Don't pull it all the way because this will come undone. And then I wrap it 3 times because the sinew is like a waxy coated thread, and if you pull it and you wrap it around and pull it again, you don't have to tie it off. It just comes and it just stays put on its own. And then I'll cut that off so it's not in my way. And now we gotta do the tree. So the tree, I'm always gonna start up top at the smaller end. And you wanna position yourself in your shirt so it's easier for you. Get everything out of your way, like I didn't do. So start at the top, accordion fold. You don't have to do super thick folds, you want just enough. So I just push the fabric into itself. And these corners are a little tricky, but then you want to turn the shirt with you so it's easier for you to grab. And like I said, you want to line up your marker lines with each other so it makes a perfect straight line. My marker is not bright, but I can still see it. You want to do this throughout the whole design because you want a super awesome Christmas tree. Super faded, but I can still see it. Alright, so there is my Christmas tree lines. Let me just fix this here. Alright, sometimes this doesn't stay, so I'm trusting it to stay for a minute. And I have to do my slip knot again. And then I'm gonna leave quite a bit of room so I don't mess up my fabric. And then slide it right underneath there, line it up with your line. I'm gonna go back just a tad. Just a tad. Make sure that when I pull this, it's not going to scrunch right up, and if it does scrunch up, I will still have all my lines in there. So move this a little bit. Put your hand down on it. Alright. Move it, adjust it to where you need to. Get your lines all straight and caught up. Alright. Tighten this up. Put your hand down on it, pull it. Alright. Wrap it around 3 times without it bunching up on you, because that's what it's doing to me. Oh man. Pull it as tight as you can so you get those white lines. Alright, so we got it pulled super tight. Cut this end off. Cut this one so you can find it when you want to undo it. So now we're done with the sinew and the scissors. We need our rubber bands for the rest. Now I am going with a simple scrunch pattern. So all you have to do from here is go from the middle and come out and literally scrunch your fabric up. Scrunch it up as good as you can. Keep it nice and flat if you can too. If you can't, pound on it. And then we're going to use our big rubber bands that are already stretched out to secure it all. And you can use as many rubber bands as you want. The more the better actually, because that way you're getting the design you want. And the scrunch is super awesome because I'm only going to use one color for the scrunch, and there's going to be a little white left in there. So that's what I want. This right here is going to be a light color, so I want that to kind of stick up a little bit, and I don't want to lose it in my bunch of cloth here, because if you do, it's going to just get that color. Whatever color you're dyeing this, it's going to get all over that, and then you're not going to have the light. So that is tied. Now we're ready for the dye. Alright, so we are ready to dye, and we want to start with the lightest color first, which for me is going to be yellow. Now you want to do this very carefully. I don't really want my yellow to go past my white line, so I'm going to try not to put too much in there, but just enough to where it's going to go through this part of the shirt. If you drip it anywhere else, it'll look like a dark green spot in the Christmas tree, because that's what we're using is green, And if you drip it out here, I'm using red, so it's probably going to look like a little bit of orange, so you just kind of want to try to be a little bit careful. Now I have my tie-dye rag here, so I'm going to show you a little trick. And I picked the cleanest spot on there, but you want to pick this up, very carefully add dye. I start at the top, poke it, prod at it, and then I'm going to take this and squeeze that. And I did go past the line, but it'll just look like it's shining. I just have to be more careful. And then you can see some white fibers on here that have not soaked in any dye, so you want to get those again. Just don't overdo it. And then I'm going to squeeze it one more time. Okay. Now we're going to work on our tree. So right here, we're going to use green. Now we really want to try not to let the green go past our sinew, because we want the green to stay in the green and we want the red to stay in the red. So we're going to come back just a little bit so that if it bleeds, it's still going to look good. So just come back some. I like to kind of start off an initial line so that I know what to work with here, and then you can come out and start dyeing the rest of it. So there are some thick spots in this one because of how it had to be tied. So just dye it and get what you can see. If you see the white fibers like I was just telling you about, get those. Be careful dragging your tip across the fabric, it will splatter. Now we're gonna do red, and I'm gonna come back way back so that we can try not to bleed any of this together. I don't like when red and green mix, it looks kind of brownish, muddy black. So I'm just gonna come way out here, draw me a line. And the best part is, if you come way out here and you dye the rest of this, it'll start to seep a little bit. And if you think you have to go back and get a little bit closer, you can, but at least then you know and you didn't make a mistake. So just come out here. I like to go out and in. Just kind of get a base dye on there, and then I'll go through and do it again. Get wherever I didn't get before. Alright, so I'm going to come up just a tad. Try not to hit your rubber bands because they will splatter. And then if you see any of those white fibers like I was telling you about, go through and touch those up. So now I'm going to flip this over so we can do this on the other side. Now, I don't want to touch all over because that'll mix my colors, so I'm just going to grab the red parts and I want to flip it sideways so that the green that's already touching the baking rack is going to stay in that spot so it's not mixing and the red's not going to touch wherever the green's touching. So I'm going to grab this side, pick it up, flip it over, flatten it out best you can. And I take that tie-dye rag and wipe my gloves off, check and make sure you're not going to get it all over your yellow, because you got to get that yellow out. Pick that guy up. Push the other guy down. There we go. Alright, and then we already did both sides of the yellow, so I'm not worried about that. Let's do the green. Try to stay back some. You can see it, it's already bleeding. It bleeds really fast and it's going to do that. So just try to stay back as far as you can. Just touch up just a little bit where the red, or the fibers are. And that should be good. And then continue with your red. So I would make another line so you know what to work with. And then go to town. Alright you guys, so we dyed our shirt. Now I recommend in letting it sit for a half hour just to check it and see how it looks. If you feel like you need more dye, you can add more dye. That would be when you would do that. But if you're not going to do that, or you are going to do that, afterwards you're going to want to put this in a bag or cover it with plastic wrap so that it can stay moist and it won't dry out. So I'm going to let mine sit for 24 hours because I doused it pretty good and I'm going to have it in a bag. So you can do either, it's going to be just as good. And after 24 hours, we are going to rinse it. I start out rinsing mine in cold water, and then I go to warm and then a little bit hotter, just enough to where my hands can stand it, until the water runs clear. And then once the water runs clear, start wringing it out. And if you get any more dye coming out of it, try to rinse it as much as you can until the water comes out clear water. And then after that, we can do our reveal, and I cannot wait to see this. All right, you guys, so we let the dye sit on this Christmas t-shirt for 24 hours. I rinsed mine from cold water, then I turned it to warm, then I turned it to hot, just to make sure I got all of the dye out. And now we're ready for a reveal. So this is our amazing Christmas tree shirt that's gonna go awesome with anything, and you really get to show off your holiday spirit, which is awesome. So just took the rubber bands off. Now I'm gonna take the sinew off, and then we're ready. There we go. Here's our Christmas tree t-shirt. Ooh, check that out. I am loving that. That looks so good. And I'm so wearing it. So there's that. I'm super proud of that. That looks so good. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to wash this. Now you want it on hot, but with cold rinses. You can use regular detergent as long as you're washing this by itself. If you're not washing it by itself, I use something called Synthrapol, which is a textile detergent, just to make sure that your dyes aren't mixing with the rest of your clothes. And then I hang dry mine. You can do the dryer, but make sure you don't use fabric softener, and it's gonna be more wrinkly. So I'm gonna hang dry mine, and then you'll have a finished product t-shirt and a perfect Christmas t-shirt to wear for your holidays.